This is our currency index, which is a really easy way, and especially when I click demo right here, when I scroll one chart back, they all scroll back because they're all linked with the same colors. It shows you what each currency is doing. You can see the dollar is going sideways, breaks down, makes a new low. In other words, the dollar is weaker right here at 325 than it was all day yesterday. And obviously you can see the daily trends kind of slightly mixed, then goes extremely weak. The weekly trend's down. So obviously you want to sell the dollar. I mean, this is not rocket science. In the past we've had currency meters that have shown statistically the strength, or in this case the weakness, and you compare those to each other, and that would help you find the currencies. You'd buy the strongest ones versus the weak and sell the weakest ones versus the strong. Now you also have a chart. Basically, I created a synthetic index that doesn't exist anywhere else to help traders make money. You can spot double tops, double bottoms. You can spot trend line breaks. As you can see, this one, the Swiss was trending down, broke this trend line, and went up for the next hour, and went up in considerable amount. With the currency meter in the past, you couldn't spot double tops, double bottoms. You couldn't spot resistance like in the CAD. You can see the weekly trends down. This is the average price for the previous week. This is the average price for the previous day. Notice this acted as support. It didn't go below that. This acted as resistance. It didn't go above it. And you can see the dollar couldn't get above that major resistance. So when it broke down, it was extremely likely to go down. So let's scroll back and look at this one, because everybody likes trading dollar pairs because they tend to have lower spreads. The best trade of this, obviously, is the beginning of the move when it breaks out of this trend line right here. That's a little bit around 3, so we'll go back, find a bar right here. So which currency is strong? Well, you won't want to trade it against the yen because it's underneath the hourly moving average right here in gray. The pound is also trending down right now. The CAD's above its hourly, but you can see the weekly trends down. The New Zealand looks great because it's right near, and it actually appears that it just broke out of yesterday's high. So it's higher right now at this time than it was all day yesterday. And it also found support at the hourly. There were buyers at the hourly back here, here, and here. And so, you know, when it breaks out, there's likely to be no sellers in it. So the New Zealand dollar's probably the #1 best currency to be in around 3. So we'll bring up the charts, and you can use any time frame chart. Let's face it, these indexes make trading so easy that it doesn't really even matter what time frame chart you use. So even though I use range charts and tick charts myself, I'm going to use a 5-minute chart for the class. New Zealand dollar. We're looking at this at 3 o'clock. You can see the chart is also above its hourly moving average. It has kind of a high right here, and you can also see the lows keep getting higher. An uptrend is a series of higher highs and or higher lows, and you can see it was trending up. The highs were pretty much the same, but the lows kept getting higher and higher. Very high probability breakout, and went from 8,600 all the way up to 8,674. So 75 pip move. And if you missed that first trade, well, actually you have a nice little flag pattern here. You could have got into it about 5 or 10 minutes later, and it's also the first pullback trade. If you got into it right there, you want to draw your fibs off the previous swing to get an idea of where the profit target is. And usually if it's way above the upper containment band, typically it's going to reverse. I tend to get out of my whole trade here at the 1.618. In this case, it went up another 10 pips, but the 1.618 most of the time is the maximum profit you're going to get, especially on big swings like this. So that one was strong. You can also, when one of them's fallen like this, and it's so weak on either the daily or the weekly trend, you can trade that against any currency really that's above the hourly. So if you wanted to buy the euro versus the dollar, even though the euro is kind of going sideways right here, you can. If the dollar keeps falling and the euro goes sideways, you're going to still make money by buying the euro dollar. You make the most money, and you saw 75 pips, when one currency is going up and the other one's going down. So let's take a look at the euro dollar at 3. It's probably going to be a 20 or 30 pip move. All right, so here at 3, it had a pullback right to the hourly moving average. Notice it was resistance before, then it acted as support. I would go long right here, the breakout of this little range with my stop underneath the low. And again, you know, even if you got out of it right here, you made a decent amount, and you got into this pullback right here, you got into this pullback right here, and this was the one that really took off. around 5:30. So let's go look at what these indexes look like at 5:30. We're going to go 2 hours into the future. Now notice the dollar exploded down. It's kind of working its way back up. And one of the reasons why you had some trouble in those trades at 3, because the euro didn't go up, it started going down. Even if the euro goes down and the dollar goes down, if the dollar goes down faster than the euro goes down, the euro dollar is going to go up. But typically, you know, you're going to get choppy price action like you saw. But let's see what happens at 5:30. Look, the previous day's low right here. If the euro has a false breakout underneath yesterday's low and comes back into the range, in other words, goes above this dotted green or red line, right here, look at this, 5:45. Pretty high probability time to be looking for the euro dollar, 5:45. Let's see what that time is. Right there. That's the bar. So if I was looking at this chart and I saw that, I would wait for confirmation for it to go over these highs, and I would have 2 fibs on here. If it shoots up there and stalls, I might get out of half, and it's very likely to stall at the fib target of this much bigger swing. So we'll make that one thicker so we can see it. So if it breaks out here, you're likely to make 20 pips. There's a good chance. All right, so once it gets above this fib target right here, it's above the upper containment band. You can see it's extended. The perfect oscillator is showing an extreme. I'm going to look for the first sign of this stalling and getting out. Here's the wicks are usually reversal signals. I'm going to probably get out of half my trade, and just for the heck of it, when on big moves like this, I'm going to put my stop just a pip or 2 underneath that bar's low. Sometimes they go sideways and shoot up another 30 pips, so it's worth giving back 4 or 5 pips to make a potential. You know, as you can see right here, another. I'd probably be out of this right here. And so out at half at 23, the other half at 27. Just to avoid all that little choppy stuff. You know, just get out of the trade and go focus on another trade. One thing you can do with this is draw your fibs on the moves and wait for a pullback, you know, preferably to the 50% level. Right here, you can see that at right around 10 at the 50% retracement. So the New Zealand's likely to continue its previous strong uptrend, and we want to find a currency that's weak. Well, today, not many are weaker than the dollar. The dollar appears to be the only one that's underneath its previous day's low. So I would be looking for New Zealand buys right coming up to 10 o'clock. This is you know, some of the higher probability trades. You know, it doesn't mean you're going to make money on all of them. Here's 10 o'clock, and you can see it shot up. It didn't shoot up. It's kind of inched its way up a little bit, but you would have made money on that. Whether it's 5 or 6 pips, you know, you're not always going to make a ton of money on those type of trades. And this is one of those instances where you could have actually, using a tick or range chart, got into the trade probably 5 or 6 pips earlier and maybe made 12 or 15 pips on that. Let's look for some other patterns here. You had a big move down in the Swiss. It rallied back up. It got above the hourly, but it really kind of failed to go above the previous high of the day. So when it breaks down right here underneath the hourly again, it's likely to resume its downtrend. You know, this is your first profit target. If it breaks through that, you're going to make even more money. And it might find support at the hourly. It's a real concern. But at 8:30, we're looking to sell the Swiss. So which currency looks strongest at 8:30? I mean, this is basically what it's about, anticipating future moves so you can kind of get into them as early as possible. And, you know, when they take off, you're going to find big 20 to sometimes 100 pip moves. And when you're wrong, you're going to lose 6 to 10 pips. And a lot of times have a small loss, 3 or 4 pips, or break even, or 2 or 3 pip win even. So this one's likely to go down. Which one's the strongest? This one's kind of going sideways, but I would definitely look at the New Zealand Swiss. The dollar's weak. The yen's weak, but it's right at the hourly. If it breaks above the hourly and this one breaks down, you could always sell the Swiss yen. So we'll take a look at that one at about 8 o'clock. Swiss yen. The Swiss is weak. The yen is strong. Here's 8 o'clock. You have this nice little low right here. It breaks down, and you can see it fell from 106.95 all the way down to 45. 50 pip move. And, you know, I'll just bring up a tick chart or a range chart just to show how when you have a signal like this, we're going to look at this around 8. And I'll put I prefer the range charts, even though occasionally I will use, I put it on the wrong chart. Here, let me move that out of the way here. Alright, so we'll put this up here. 8 o'clock, this is a 5 pips per bar range chart. And you can see on a range chart, which is nice, you don't have as much noise. 8 o'clock, or coming up to 8, I guess it was. You have this trade here. If you started watching it after 8, you might have gone short here. It's kind of working its way down. I would put my stop here. Once it's not making new lows, I'm going to move my stop to break even. Comes back in the range. I'm going to be a little hesitant to go short again. I go short right here, put my stop above here. And then once it makes a new low, typically it's going to, kind of work its way down. If you want, every time it makes a new low and kind of comes up a little bit, you can yank your stop down, yank your stop down, yank your stop down, get out of the trade somewhere around here. Or you can use a trailing stop, or you can use fib targets, which I'll show you. If you sold this last entry right here, when it makes its first wave down, draw your fibs, and again, get out of the trade right at the 1.618. You got every pip in that first move, except for maybe 3 or 4 pips. That's it. So you're short somewhere around 06, you're out at 73. You got a nice 25 plus pip move while risking less than, you're risking 5 pips plus 1 or 2 pip padding. That's it. Now I'm going to show how to use trend lines. I had an amazing night last night with trend line trading, and I'm going to show you what I did so you can catch some, and in some days like last night, over 100 pips worth of profit using trend lines. This is our Forex blog for April 11th, 2013. Before I do the normal blog that I do each day, showing our software in action, showing our best trading methods, trading tools, easiest ways to find the best, highest probability, highest profitability trades, I'd like to just review trend lines. Because trend line is one of the best ways of trading. When you draw a trend line on our charts and you right click on it, you go to create an alert, you can play a sound file, you can get a text message, you can have it pop up in your alert window, and you can also have it do the description field can be sent to our scripting language, and you can actually develop trading systems that actually take trades while you're sleeping when trend lines get broken. And that's what I've been doing. I've been big on automated systems for the last year and a half, 2 years, and one of probably the most profitable method I've come up with that's consistent. I mean, some days some of my systems do 50, 80 pips. Other days they lose 20 or 30. I would say they average 10 to 15 pips a day. But lately I've been focusing on finding high probability patterns. Like you can see the euro's been trending up clearly. So last night I drew these 2 trend lines on it. I have it hooked to a Visual Basic script, which is hooked to my real-time live real money brokerage account. And then when this got broken, it sent a signal to another chart that had a system on there that runs some other trading methods as well. And it actually took this trade, and you can see it had a very big move. You just simply put a trailing stop on it, and you ride it up. Here's another chart that got triggered last night. So it had a small loss here, probably a small win here. And once they get triggered, they turn off. If you want to have them turn back on, all you have to do is hit edit alert and go like this. And then if price goes above this level, from underneath it to above it on a tick level, it gets in. You can also set it to alert when a close of the bar is over it. You can see the default is on touch, when it goes from below to above it, but you can also have an on bar close. So if you're one of those traders that likes to buy when an hourly trend line break gets broken, or a 15-minute, put whatever time frame bar you want. You can see another excellent trade I took last night. Drew this trend line on this. The pound was trending up nicely. Nice little wedge pattern. And anytime you see a market have very low volatility, not pull back much, the low didn't go below this low, I pretty much assumed that, and I was hoping for it to break out over this level, and it did. I caught a huge win on that trade as well. We do have plans within the next 6 months to a year to put in MetaTrader execution, so you can draw trend lines and have the trades done on MetaTrader. Last night this one got hit. I probably had a small loss on that. And then the short one got hit, and it went down enough that I would have made money on the second entry there. But you can see when these things get triggered, trend lines, usually there's enough of a move. And you don't know what's going to happen while you're sleeping. This thing could have just shot up 150, 200 pips, kind of went sideways for a long time, broke the trend line, and fell 50 pips. And even though the trend of the day was up, my sell trend line could have got hit, which you can see if I right-click on this. I have this in my automated system. If the description says sell, it takes sells. If the description says buy, it takes buys. But you don't need to use the description for your own trading at this point. So just a quick reminder, trend lines make a ton of money. Last night, my automated systems that used the trend line made more than 100 pips. One of the better trend line days that I've had recently. I've been using these for the last few weeks and just love it. So I wanted to point that out to you. If you trend lines are also an amazing way of catching some of the biggest moves without watching the market, tick by tick, minute by minute, hour by hour. Just wait for an alert on your cell phone, email, or if an audio alert if you're hanging around your house, and then go take a look at it. And a lot of times these moves don't just explode up within one. These are 30-minute bars, but if you would have noticed this, maybe you got to your computer right here at 53.40. The breakout was at 32. Maybe it went up 8 pips. Well, guess what? These tend to lead to big moves. You can draw trend lines on monthly charts, weekly charts, daily charts, hourly charts, 4-hour charts, 5-second charts, or 5 pips per bar charts, any time frame you want, and get alerts on it. It's up to you. And again, anytime you see volatility patterns that are very, very tiny like this, very high probability, you can see the same thing happened in the euro here. It was a strong trend up. It was kind of going down. I considered putting a stop on it, or a line right here underneath this low, but I felt it was safer to adjust it a little bit lower, because this trend is up. I preferred buying this one, which is the one that did get hit. So there's so much you can do with trend lines, and like many of our tools, you can make a living just with trend line trades, as you can make a living just with using our currency indexes 1 or 2 times a week to find some of the highest probability trades.